All right, there we go. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to Dom and Gonz Sports Talk, ladies and gentlemen. Here to recap a wild card weekend. Man, do we have some things to discuss. A lot of upsets, a lot of teams triumphing, a lot of teams going on to the divisional round. Gonz, how you feeling, man? On this Tuesday afternoon, morning. Sorry, it's 11:24.
It's cold. It's definitely cold as freak down here. It's under 32, and it's only going to get colder. But I don't care because it's divisional playoff week. We are officially done with the wild card, like you said. Can't say that I was too surprised about what happened this weekend, aside from maybe one or two games. That one being the Packers just absolutely dominating the Cowboys on the road. But everything else kind of was lined up to how we thought it was going to be. Like the Steelers going to take it down by the Bills. That was predictable. And I can't remember the other ones. Lions winning. Actually, that one was a little bit – the outcome was a little different, but the game was close. Like you said, that was definitely the best game of the weekend. And I'd say I say you hit that one right on the head. But yeah, I can't wait to start talking about all of these. As we approach divisional weekend, the Ravens have their matchup set on Saturday, and we're anxious, chomping at the bit to get after them.
All right. Well, before we get into Ravens matchup this Saturday, let's peel these games back layer by layer. So we're going to start with Saturday's matchups. We had Houston versus Cleveland, and we have Miami versus Kansas City. Now, I feel as though I know you said that you weren't surprised by some of these matchups. This is probably one of those days where I was surprised of a matchup. Kicking off with this Houston-Cleveland game. I was not expecting this outcome. I wanted the Texans to win. Don't get me wrong. I am very happy that the Flacco Cinderella story is over. I didn't think it was going to be over this quickly, but it is over. Flacco, we do love you. Just not right now because you're in a Browns uniform. But I was not expecting a young team like and mind you, my key word is young team. That word, remember that word, because that word is going to be used very much so throughout the rest of this episode today. This young team in Texas, the Browns walk in to the Texans stadium. Everybody's saying the Texans have no chance to win this game. They are inexperienced. Flacco is a crazy record in playoff matchups, and there's just no way that C.J. Stroud can get it done. Not only does C.J. Stroud get it done, but they get it done in very convincing fashion, winning over the Cleveland Browns 45-14 in a slobber knocker. I mean, you just don't expect the Browns to go out like that. I mean, we raved about the Browns' stout defense, how they're one of the top defenses in the league in points per game allowed. And they allow 45 points to a rookie quarterback, and they allow Nico Collins to go absolutely nuts on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, I mean, when you're Flacco and you're throwing back-to-back turnovers, you're not winning games. And what did we say coming into this game? If you let Flacco turn the ball over, you can win a football game against this Cleveland Browns team. And he delivered on that promise. He threw 2 picks, costly interceptions at a time that the Browns needed to make something happen. And the thing is, like, even though, I mean, the Texans had Singletary had 66 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Most of the damage was done through the air against that Browns secondary. And C.J. Stroud had all day, pretty much all day to throw the ball. No pressure, which is, you never thought you'd say that against the defensive line that has Darius Smith and Myles Garrett. Like, you never thought you'd say that, but there was just no pressure on Stroud. He was very composed. He was calm in the pocket. Pressure in his face. He was letting that ball fly. Like, it was like a pickup game out there. I'm just very shocked about this Cleveland Browns team giving up 45 to Stroud. Like I said, it's the outcome I wanted. I mean, like I said, I wanted the Browns to be one and done. I mean, you guys know in the last episode, I was very, very clear. End this Joe Flacco stuff right now. And the Browns heard what I said and said, we're going to do that and raise you one by knocking them out completely and dominating them. So, I mean, shout out to C.J. Stroud and the Texans, because that was just a performance I was not expecting. You got to give credit where credit is due to this young rookie quarterback coming in, leading this franchise. D'Amico Ryans, I mean, heck of a head coach. I really feel like he should win Coach of the Year. I mean, it's not really close in my opinion. Like, he led this young Texans team to the playoffs, and they got a playoff win like that. I know it's a regular season award, but I mean, it's just incredible what this Texans team is doing, and you got to give credit where credit is due. This is a different team than we faced in Week 1, for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not really the results. We can go back and backtrack what we were saying from the beginning of the show. It's not really the results that were surprising, aside from the Packers, but it was how the games unfolded that was kind of surprising. You just didn't expect the Browns to get blown out like that. But, it wouldn't have been shocking if the Texans won it in a shootout, because you know what the Texans are capable of. But the fact that Browns defense that everybody was ranting and raving about, number one defense, got trounced by the Texans offense, rookie quarterback. But honestly, let's be real, and I said this before the playoffs started, the Browns are not a road team. They're like the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. They are a dominant football team at home. They're only giving up about 13 points a game at home. And then on the road, they give up over 20. They give up a lot more yards, like about 80 to 100 more yards, total yardage. And that's just not – you need to be able to play your game on both sides of the road. Like, you need to be able to play your game not only at your home stadium, but as a visitor in an opponent's stadium. So you can't be two-faced here. You have to be battle-tested to, survive the conditions. And Cleveland's shown that they weren't. I think their road record was like 4-5 this year.
Yeah, 3-5.
3-5. So 11-6. That means they went 7-1 on the road. I'm sorry, 7-1 at home. So you mean that's just not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. And unfortunately, you're not the number one seed, so you can't play at home. You have to go on the road and get your wins, and you can't when your defense is a two-faced Dr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll when it comes to playing on the road versus playing at home. And that's why they're sitting at home right now, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Same thing for Houston. Maybe they'll struggle a little bit on offense when they come to our house. We're not going to be in a dome. We're going to be outside. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. So I expect C.J. Stroud to have a little bit of problems next week. I'm predicting. But anyway, yeah, I'm not surprised. Can I go ahead and jump over to the next game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, let's go on ahead to Miami, Kansas City.
That one was not surprising.
No, it was not. That was not surprising at all.
I've not been sold on Tua for a long time. Ever since a couple years ago, and he's just not it. I'm sorry. He's just he puts up pretty numbers against bad teams, but he's just not the guy you want to take your team to a playoff run with. I'm sorry. Like, in the month of December is just not their month ever. So at that point, you can't just blame it on luck. You just have to start accepting the fact that your team needs to be battle tested by the time you roll around to the playoffs. And the Dolphins just seem to fall off the cliff every single year when it comes to the month of December. So my take on this game is very short. I'm about to pass it right over to you, Dom, because there's just nothing really much to say. I mean, you stop Tagovailoa in that high passing game, which teams have kind of done for the past 5 games. They're nothing. And then they don't run the ball very well either because they start trailing by a lot of points. I mean, look at the Ravens game. Look at the Chiefs game. And the conditions, they just can't seem to – again, they're one of those people that play well at home and struggle on the road. So, I don't know, man. Mike McDaniel's going to have to do some work with them. And I heard some Dolphins fans questioning if Tua if they need to move on from him next year. We'll see.
Yeah,
it's not surprising at all how that went down. 26-7, dominant win for Kansas City and that defense.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Pretty short takes on this one. It's just one factor: injuries. It was just hard to overcome when you lose two of your best edge rushers in Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb,
That's true.
and then you don't have Xavier Howard in that secondary, it it leaves pause for cause on a lot. You even make the Kansas City receivers look good, and they haven't looked good all year. So, I mean, shout out to Rashee Rice because he was a saving grace in that Kansas City pass game. Kelsey was trying to come to life a little bit. He had a couple of drops in that game, but it's just, yeah, it's just they couldn't overcome the injuries. I mean, you got Waddle for 2 catches for 31 yards. Hill had 5 catches for 62 yards. He was the only touchdown of the day for them. I mean, like the Miami, like you said, this Miami team is one dimensional. I mean, you stop that high powered passing game on this Miami team, and they get exposed very quickly. I mean, we were a good example of that. Buffalo was a decent example of that. Kansas City was a good example of that. And you can't really. I mean, Mahomes threw for 262. Like it's like I want to blame the weather on that one. And I know Mahomes is used to that weather because he's played in Kansas City for years now. But I mean, he threw for 262. So obviously he didn't have that much trouble passing the ball. And this is another game where the quarterback had all day to throw. Like there was no pressure on Mahomes. Like they had Justin Houston out there, they had Melvin Ingram out there. They could not get to the quarterback. Mahomes could have ordered lunch, called his wife, asked how she was doing in that pocket back there. It was crazy. So I mean, this Miami Dolphins team has some soul searching to do. I feel like they need to run some scenarios as to how this offense can improve without throwing the ball 50 yards downfield because it's not always going to be available. Teams will like latch onto that and they will learn how to stop it. Like it's pretty simple out here. I mean, like I said, Buffalo did it twice.
Physically, they just don't match up well with elite AFC squads, and that has been the narrative for them for years. And it just continues. One win over a team above 500 this year, and that is the Dallas Cowboys, who look like they're frauds as well. So
yeah, it's just not looking good.
Beats all the bad teams, but when it comes to playing AFC contenders, they are not even in the same at all.
They struggle. They struggle.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I mean,
they put up a tough game with the Bills, but other than that, it's just I don't know. Miami, like you said, they've got some soul searching to do, and I know that. But offensively, they got a lot of guys back. Mostert was back, Waddle was back, and they just weren't effective. Yeah. Chiefs, great job on defense. So
yeah, I mean the Chiefs are a stout defense. I'm not surprised they did struggle, but at this point right now, again, like we said, Miami needs to find an identity other than throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill every other play because that's just not going to work. So Chiefs get the win 26-7 like God said, pretty dominant win. It won't look like on the stat sheet, but from the eye test it was a dominant win for the Chiefs. So Chiefs move on. Now on to Sunday's matchups before we get to the game of the weekend, like we said it was going to be another shocker. And again, it's not really like outcome as shocking. It was again the performance was as shocking. We're gonna move on to this Green Bay versus Dallas game. Dallas, I don't even know what to say to y'all right now. Dallas Cowboys fans have been going through it since Sunday. I'm not gonna ram on y'all too much other than what's already been done to you guys in the span of about 48 hours. But what happened?
I'm sorry, I gotta say, we them boys. I'm sorry, I got it.
I mean, like Dallas, what happened? I don't know. I watched that game. Like nothing to do with the Ravens, but I watched that game just to see if Dallas would. Like, dude, I don't understand what Dallas team. Like, mind you, they're at home. They were the best home team this year. They came in at the 2 seed. Philadelphia Eagles team. They were coming in with a little bit of confidence heading into this game, and they just showed up and laid an egg like they were not ready to play. I mean, Jordan Love looked like he's been playing for at least 5 years now in that game. It was absolutely ridiculous. A first-year starting quarterback, not a rookie quarterback, but a first-year starting quarterback. I mean, throws for 272 and 3 touchdown passes and finishes with a 157.2 passer rating. Like, that is absolutely insane. Against a supposedly stout Dallas Cowboys defense. Like, I just this was a abysmal performance by the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't see how they could come back from this as the same squad they were this year because you got to blow it up. It's just too much. It's too much one and done. You get embarrassed by the Niners twice. You come into your home field to play a young Green Bay team, no experience in the playoffs, first year starting quarterback with no expectations. Like they had no expectations. They had nothing. The Green Bay Packers had nothing to lose in this game.
Let me jump in real quick.
Mm-hmm.
This team was 16-0 in their last 16 home games. They do not lose at home. This loss is absolutely inexcusable if you're the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, they should be calling for Mike McCarthy because that is just unbelievable. There is no way about how much talent that team has on both sides of the ball that they should be giving up 48 points to Jordan Love and the youngest NFL team currently. That is the Green Bay Packers of 2023 are the youngest NFL team currently. It's unbelievable. I mean, they got destroyed by Aaron Jones. They got destroyed by Jordan Love.
And don't forget Romeo Doubs.
Romeo
Doubs is absolutely insane.
And it's not even just they were getting torched. They were blowing coverages. There was no one near some of these guys. Romeo Doubs was uncovered on 2 of his long receptions. Luke Musgrave was wide open on a play action with a wheel route down the sideline. I guess they were selling out against the run, and they just left him wide open. Like, I could have made that throw. Dead ass. It's just, you just don't, I mean, everyone, it's just getting old. It's our year. Prescott is just, again, his playoff struggles resurfacing, and this whole team, it's not just Dak Prescott. It's the whole Cowboys squad. When it comes to January, they just can't get it done. They just cannot get it done. Mike McCarthy has had 3 12-win seasons or more. 12 win at least. His last 3 seasons, and they have not gotten farther than the divisional round. So after an upset loss like that, you've got to get rid of them. I mean, I'm looking at the comments. Cowboys will never win. It's more than just Dak Prescott, though. AG, it's the whole squad. That whole team was just out of sync. CeeDee Lamb was out of sync. Micah Parsons didn't do much. I mean, that's a cumulative group effort that contributed to the loss. You can't sit here and say, "Oh, if Dak Prescott played better, they would have won." Like they played really bad on both sides of the ball. And I know they got 32 points, but those were garbage time points. Let's face it. But I don't know, man. If you're a Cowboys fan, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie said it best. I mean, the Cowboys are gonna Cowboys in January. I mean, that's the best way to put it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Micah Parsons didn't even exist on the other side of the ball. I mean, he had no pressure on Jordan Love. There were no sacks in this game to Jordan Love. The Cowboys got no pressure back there compared to the 4 sacks that the Packers got on Dak Prescott. Like I said, Dan Orlovsky, ESPN analyst, said it best. If you don't blow this up for next season, don't say you want to win a Super Bowl, because at this point right now, you have shown for the past 3 years that this team will not get it done. It's just that simple. It's not going to get it done. Like you're coming back with the same squads each and every year. You win 12 games each and every year, and then you're out of the playoffs in the first round each and every year. If you come back with the same squad, with the same coaching staff, you don't want to win. It's just that simple, because they've proven time and time again that this is not the squad to get it done. It's unfortunate to say that, and I'm sorry. I have friends who are Cowboys fans. Very unfortunate that I have to give them tissues every time for the playoffs because they can't get it done.
It's
It's very.
funny to watch the Cowboys lose, though, just a
It
little
is.
bit. You
It's
got to
actually
just
funny.
as
The memes.
a fan and how many people clout or like hype the Cowboys, and then to see them go down and see people sad a little bit is kind of
The
funny.
memes are hilarious. The memes are hilarious. I gotta give credit with
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
All right, Cowboys fans, but it's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Cowboys, y'all gotta blow it up. Get rid of the coach. Do something with Dak. Do something because this is unacceptable. Y'all gotta look yourselves in the mirror after this one because I feel
Talk
like
about the Bills and Steelers very soon, so don't go anywhere.
yeah. So on to that. Green Bay Packers move on. Shout out to Jordan Love and that squad for getting it done because that was just a great performance on their end. So shout out to them. Now on to the game. I feel as though is the game of the weekend. Rams versus Lions. This one, I mean, I feel like though the expectations for this game were very high. I feel like everybody felt like this was probably going to be game of the weekend, and it did not disappoint. It came down to, pretty much the last possession, and both teams. I feel like the Rams came out kind of slow coming into this game. The Lions just came out hot. They were ready in the beginning of the game, at least. I don't know what happened in the second half. I think the Rams had just kind of figured things out, but definitely almost like a interesting turn of events up until like the final possession of the game when the Rams had the ball, and I feel like the refs kind of missed that call on Puka when he was trying to go for that first down, I believe, and no flag was thrown. I feel like the refs. I don't know if this is just you guys can let me know how you feel, but I feel like the refs were really kind of like holding their flags for some of these games. I don't know if that was just me. I just kind of felt that way over the course of the weekend. Like I felt like some flags were just not thrown for obvious situations, but that's just me. I just felt like the rest were kind of just letting them play, I guess. I don't know if that was always great, but yeah, this game did not disappoint. Funny thing is, though, Stafford was booed coming back home to Detroit, and it's crazy to me because, like, he gave them everything he had when he was there. And I was like, dang, Detroit fans have no sympathy for Matthew Stafford going to LA. I mean, he like I guess I can't fault it. I don't know. I just feel as though, he gave everything he had to that organization. He played battered and bruised. I just don't feel like you treat a quarterback of his stature like that. But that's just me. But just great performances on both sides of the ball for both of these teams. I feel like a flip was switched in that second half for the Rams as they were trying to figure it out. Amon-Ra went crazy. Puka broke the rookie receiving record in the playoffs. He's going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
In his coming future. He is going to be something. Definitely stepping in kind of to that wide receiver one spot as Cooper Kupp, gets a little older. But yeah, it's just not too much. The Lions finally get their first playoff win in over 30 years. First playoff win at home. So with this win, they will be moving on. But it was a great game on both fronts. Stafford finished with almost 400 yards passing. Goff almost finished with 300. Not a lot of passing touchdowns thrown, and not as many as I thought. I honestly thought it was going to be more of a shootout than anticipated. I know both defenses are prone to give up big plays, but all in all, like this is just a great game to watch. Great way to end the Sunday slate. No complaints from me on this end from this one.
I think the Rams definitely missed a lot of opportunities in this game because the Lions, they did not score anything more than 3 points in the second half. The Lions the Rams made proper adjustments on defense and did enough to win the game. But that offense kept kicking field goals, and that's not going to get it done in the playoffs. Yes, they may have missed a call on Puka, but you don't have to get that first down. You could get 8 yards and kick a field goal, and then you have the lead. I don't think they managed it too well. And they had to waste timeouts in the second half for to avoid delay of games and too many men on the field. Like you can't do that. You need your timeouts, especially when you're trailing in the fourth quarter, because you need them at the end of the game. You never know what's going to happen. So just not the best management by the Rams, and I think they let one slip away. I know we're all loving the Lions right now and feel good for them, and yeah, they deserve it. But I think the main thing about this one was the Rams missing the opportunities that were given to them more than the Lions seizing them, because the Lions kept giving them the ball. They kept punting. Yes, they did seal it with Amon-Ra, on that third down conversion. But the Rams, if they could have scored touchdowns on all of their possessions and not field goals, that would have been a blowout. So it sucks if you're the Rams. But, you think back, you were Super Bowl champions 2 years ago, and this doesn't hurt. But yeah, it was a nice, entertaining game. Rams should be getting stronger next year. I don't know how many more years Stafford has left in the tank, but at least probably 1 or 2. And second year for Puka. The Rams will be good next year, and they get a draft pick. So
finally,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's it.
I wouldn't be disappointed if I'm a Rams fan because, 1, I got the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and 2, they overachieved this year. Definitely.
Yeah, they definitely were not supposed to be here, especially the way they kind of struggled a little bit throughout the season. They definitely overachieved. But to get to the point where they got to finish 10-7, to try to win a playoff game in Detroit, and they were right there. But like you said, just too many missed opportunities, not getting in the end zone in that second half. When the Lions only scored 3 points in that whole second half, Lions, you're gonna have to clean that up for Bucks this weekend. But let me make sure I didn't. Gonz, are you still there? I think I might have lost him. We'll see.
I'm
if he comes back.
I'm here. I just had to respond.
Oh, okay, got it.
Sorry.
Got it. Okay, cool. So yeah, shout out Lions. They will be moving on, playing another home game. Oh, now we get to the meat and potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. Steelers versus Bills. AG, I hope you're still here for this one.
Better be.
I think we all know what we were expecting, the outcome of this game. Mason Rudolph turning the ball over. It's Mike Tomlin's defense. I mean, let's just start with like the brunt of the whole thing, right? We all pretty much knew that the Steelers had no chance to beat the Bills. We kind of came into that. Everyone expected that. Everyone thought the Bills were going to win this game. Yeah. The funny thing is, though, is that the Bills were kind of playing with their food a little bit in that second half. And I say that, like, you never want to – I hate to say this because it's happened to us, and this is why I'm saying it. You never want to keep the Steelers hanging around in games like this because they have a tendency – the Steelers are kind of like cockroaches. They just don't go away. Like, they're always going to be there in any instance. And, like, when I see that the score is, like, 17-24, I'm like, crap. Because knowing Mike Tomlin and his expertise, his phenomenal coaching, they going to find a way to tie this game up and almost try to take it to the distance. But Josh Allen said, nah, we not doing that. And then throws a touchdown pass to give the Bills a 31-17 lead. And to pretty much ice the game at that point because the Steelers couldn't really do much after that. Steelers. Y'all weren't supposed to be here. Let's just keep it real. Y'all were not supposed to be here. Like,
they're not good. They shouldn't have been.
They shouldn't have been here. AG, no disrespect to your team, but they should not have been here. I mean, this team has struggled all year offensively. They caught some lucky breaks at the end of the season. They beat us because we really ain't playing nobody. I mean, it's George Pickens took to the game took to Twitter to the press conference after the game and said you can't play the Bills and the refs. So I guess I was like, come on, man. We could say it's refs, but it's also like it wasn't great play a lot as well.
You fumbled. You literally fumbled on the first play of the whole game for you. Like, stop it. Like, that's I can't stand George Pickens. I really can't.
It was not a good game for the Steelers. I mean, exactly. You're not winning playoff games giving up 31. If you give up over 30, you're pretty much cooked in the playoffs. So I mean, not a great. I mean, a reporter asked Mike Tomlin, "Hey, Mike, you got 1 year left on your contract." He just walked off. He walked off for you.
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I was like, So I mean, shout out to him for, again, another non-losing season, but unfortunately that season ends in a one-and-done situation in the playoffs. Just Bills outplayed them, and they didn't really need to have a good day throughout the air. I mean, Josh Allen only finished with 203 on the game. He had 3 passing touchdowns still, but he only finished with 203. And I mean, Diggs didn't need to have a day. He only had 50 yards. Like it was just what team was tougher, and the Bills just outplayed the Steelers yesterday.
Yeah, and it's I talked to about this yesterday. If you're not an AFC North team, then the Steelers are completely irrelevant on anyone's radar. They're an easy win for the majority of the NFL, unless you're the Bengals, Browns, or Ravens. So, and we also talked about this. The Steelers just do not have any like glaring strengths that can propel them to a Super Bowl run. There's nothing really that good about them. Yeah, TJ Watt, but can he literally put the entire team on his back in the playoffs? No. No one can. You need help from a unit. And the thing about them is they just don't they rely on individuals to carry them. Example, Big Ben, TJ Watt. Well, you don't have a Hall of Famer at quarterback anymore, and TJ Watt was out. So now that you don't have the guys in place to step up because you rely on individuals, it's just a shit show when those guys are not playing. I mean, it wasn't a coincidence that the Steelers are 1-10, now 1-11 since 2017 when TJ Watt's not on the field. So again, not surprising. Bills did a good job, got it done. Josh Allen with a crazy run where he just busted through the Pittsburgh Steelers' poor tackling, took it 52 yards for a TD. And that pass to Shakir for the touchdown was also just off of broken tackles and missed tackles. So that is supposed to be the unit that carries the Steelers, their defense, and it's just not that good. I'm just being real.
Bet you that was Lamar running like that. They probably would have been full steam ahead trying to tackle that man.
Because they get up for the divisional games and everyone else just kind of takes them as another game, a not so good team that they can beat. I don't know what it is about the division, but the Steelers just find ways to win those. But the Steelers BS, it doesn't work in the playoffs. You know this. They get around a lot of weird stuff, and they get a lot of weird wins where they capitalize on the other team's mistakes. That doesn't happen in the playoffs. The teams in the playoffs are there for a reason. They don't slop their way in there. So once they need to, once they get that opportunity, they don't win. So I'm not surprised. Good riddance of the Steelers. No little upset brewing next week where the Steelers can beat Lamar or whatever. Nope, it's going to be C.J. Stroud in the building, and we're excited for that.
Yep.
But
so
congrats to
the
Bills, and congrats to the Steelers for not getting any better. They're still in the middle of the pack. They're not going to get a good draft pick. They're going to keep Mike Tomlin because of his record, and they're going to be 9-8 again next year, or 10-7, and either sneak in or barely miss. So, AG, I hope you enjoy the limbo, enjoy the purgatory, because you're not going anywhere with Mike Tomlin, and I absolutely love to say that about the Steelers. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, Bills move on. The Buffalo Bills will move on to face the Kansas City Chiefs for another playoff matchup. Except this time, Kansas City has to roll through to Buffalo, not the other way around. So we'll see how that one goes. So to finish off Wild Card Weekend, this one was just. I mean, let's just say what it is, folks. This is a terrible performance from the away team here, and I'm talking Eagles Bucks. It's kind of crazy because when you look at the stat sheet in this game, you would look at Jalen Hurts' game and say, you know what? I mean, it wasn't that bad. But then you look at the game itself, and then you're like, wow, they played bad. I mean, at all phases of the ball, it was just a bad performance for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Jalen Hurts looked like a shell of himself out there. The Eagles' defense was just absolutely abysmal all night long. Broken tackles, long plays, blown coverages. I haven't seen that many blown tackles since my last Madden game. Like it was just absolute insanity. I mean, a they couldn't tackle a balloon, like a balloon just standing there looking at you. It was bad. If you allow Baker Mayfield to throw for 337 and 3 touchdowns, and big shout out to Baker Mayfield for revitalizing career in Tampa. After a lot of teams, decided to pass up on him, and now he's, doing his thing. You got to give respect where respect is due because he's definitely doing his thing over there. But it's just the Eagles. I don't know what happened, but their secondary has been terrible all year, and the pressure. Like this is supposed to be one of the better defensive lines in football, but they've been a shell of themselves too. Like it's been bad. It's been really, really bad for this Eagles team, and I just don't know what happened. I don't know what needs to change. I have some Eagles friends. I have some Eagles fans who were friends, and they didn't even really have confidence that they were going to win this game. They were like, Bucks could easily beat us, and boy, did they! Like 32-9. You can only score 9. This team, it's bad. Like this was a terrible performance. No AJ Brown, but Devontae Smith went nuts. He had 8 for 148. No touchdowns though. But man, and Jason Kelce just retired, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. That was the breaking news this morning. Jason Kelce did retire, so he will not be returning next year. But wow. I knew the Bucks could win, but dang, I thought the Eagles would try to get up for this one, and they just did not. Like this is just a bad performance. Shout out to the Bucks for coming in and this was their home game, but for just showing up and showing out against this Eagles team because this is embarrassing. This is bad.
Yeah,
even minus AJ Brown. Like I know you didn't have AJ Brown, but dang, you still got some guys out there who can make plays. But this was just ridiculous. They got to blow it up. I don't know if you blow it up, but something has to change because this team right here, currently constructed, will not get it done.
They're not very good. And a couple things. Yeah, Max said the 49ers put out the blueprint. I agree. Like after that Niners game, they have not been the same. They got blown out by them, and then they only won one out of the last six games or so. I mean, they
started 10-1 and then just went downhill.
It gives 2020 Steelers vibes when the Steelers started 11-0, and then they lost 5 out of the last 6 and got blown out by Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. I mean, when you start 11-0, a lot of things have to go right, and for it to actually mean anything, or in this case 10-1, you have to be able to show on both sides of the ball that you have something that is actually, effective. Like, are you winning your games effectively, or are you just kind of getting some breaks? And for the past couple years, when these teams have started 11-0, they just haven't been able to demonstrate or show the world that they are truly a dominant team. Like the Eagles were just getting by with wins earlier in the year, and people were kind of shaking it off, just saying, well, they're a good team finding ways to win at the last minute. Well, it's clear that it was just kind of luck, because then they just started losing, and they weren't able to fix their mistakes, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The tackling, the run defense, the pass defense is just not good. And the offense, even with all those players, because they had A.J. Brown for a while. I know he got hurt last week, but the offense kind of just disintegrated from what it was last year. I mean, it just was a run game, run. They got DeAndre Swift in the offseason, hoping to jetpack that run game even more, but you have to be able to throw the ball too. And Jalen Hurts just was not able to capitalize on some of these opportunities. And I have not been a fan of Jalen Hurts either, even since last year. I said, is Jalen Hurts really that great? And this was the day of the Super Bowl. I said, I'm not sure that Hurts is that good. He just might be a product of this run game. And when he's not running all over the field, running the football, they're not very good. So you want to talk about Lamar as a running back? Jalen Hurts looks like a running back for the most part. Not being able to throw it when you need him to. And they have good weapons. Goddard, Smith, A.J. Brown for the most part.
Don't forget Swift in the backfield.
Yeah, Swift in the backfield. I don't know.
I
They're
mean,
just not.
I'm looking at this Eagles schedule. I mean, like for this past year, I mean, it's just like after, like we said, they beat three good teams back to back to back. I mean, they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Chiefs, then they beat the Bills, and then it just goes downhill from there. I mean, they lose 42-19 to San Fran. That's the embarrassing loss Gonz mentioned earlier. They get routed by the Cowboys 33-13. So the Cowboys got their get back. They lose to the Seahawks in heartbreaking fashion. I think that was on
But
Monday Night Football.
one real quick. Those games you just said when they beat the Bills, they should have lost that game. And then again, the Kansas City Chiefs one, they should have lost that one too. Remember the Marcus
It was a
Val.
blown call, right? Blown call. Yep.
And then the Bills, Josh Allen had a wide open man in overtime, and he just sailed it. Oh, like those.
I don't know what it. I think Josh Allen is like allergic to overtime because every time there's an overtime, he just folds like a cheap 10.
They were lucky to win a lot of those games, and even their first matchup with Dallas, they barely escaped that one as well.
It was like 28-23.
They haven't looked like the most dominant team in a lot of their games. So,
and it showed. It showed in these last couple of games. I mean, so after the 3-game losing streak, you beat the Giants. Then you lose to the Cardinals in a heartbreaker, and then you lose to the Giants again. But that's when Jalen Hurts left with an injury, and Mariota tried but could not succeed. I think this is another one of those scenarios where you have to make some changes at positions. A lot of your guys are free agents now going into the offseason. Jason Kelce has retired, so now you got to replace him. But I don't know. Eagles, this is just like the Miami Dolphins. This is an Eagles team that has some soul searching to do because you lose to the fourth seed Bucks. I'm sorry, in a game that you honestly probably should have won. No matter. So, shout out to the Bucks for overcoming this. They are off to face Detroit this weekend.
that'll be a fun.
That'll be a fun one. So, guys, that's all the matchups. So, the final 8 has been set. We will have Chiefs, Bills, Rams, Bucks, and we will have Green Bay, Niners, and then now to get to the fun one, Ravens, Texans. It was made official yesterday after the Bills defeated the Steelers. The Texans will be coming to our house again for a divisional round game.
On Saturday.
We were probably
4:30.
on Saturday at 4:30.
Yep.
It's going to be a little chilly, but the Ravens are used to that, so not really much to sweat. We will have a full breakdown on this, of course, before the game happens, but I'm just going to give my quick synopsis of it. A lot of guys are saying, there is a little pause for cause because there have been some upsets, and the Texans team looks completely different from week 1, obviously, because that was the first game of the year. But what I will say, to not get too much into it, as much as this Texans team has been different, this is a completely different Ravens team that this Texans team is facing. Mind you, in that week 1 game, that was the first game in Tom Monken's offense. That was the first game Lamar's played since being injured the previous year. The defense wasn't gelling like it's gelling right now in this moment. Like, these are two teams who are completely different 17 weeks ago. So I think this is going to be a good one. CJ Stroud's coming to our house. A completely different CJ Stroud is coming to our house. His first divisional game in his first year. Shout out to CJ Stroud, man. I just want to give credit to CJ Stroud because shout out to him. He's really doing his thing over there. That Texans team is going to be good for years to come with him behind the helm. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to break this game down in a couple of days, but that's just my quick synopsis. I think it's going to be a good one, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think the Ravens can handle business. Whoever they were going to play, I think they can handle business. This year's different. They've been resting. The people are coming back from practice. Mark Andrews returned. We had a couple roster moves that the Ravens made. Pepe Williams got thrown on IR. As I said, Mark Andrews was activated. They released Laquan Treadwell too. So he went he gets through waivers, he will be a free agent available to sign with another team. Not surprising there. Maybe that's to make room for more people on the run. I guess that was to make room for Dalvin Cook. I don't know.
They could probably just elevate
Yeah,
him from practice squad anyway.
right.
So
They have
yeah.
3 elements. I don't know. Maybe they were just clearing out some cap space, or I don't know. But I think Treadwell was on the active roster, though, right?
I believe he was, because they activated him for a game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was for the Pittsburgh game, but yeah.
Okay. So yeah, all right. So that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, we'll be ready to talk about it. I think we can take care of business. I'll be there for the game. I can't wait. It's only in 5 more days. Yeah, 4:30 at the bank. It's going to be cold. It'll probably be in the teens, or low 20s with some wind. So good luck, CJ Stroud, because we're waiting for you. We are. I'm not afraid.
All right.
I think we can score on their defense. I think we can bottle up Mike Singletary, or Devin Singletary, sorry, and make them one-dimensional, force the rookie into some bad throws, and we should be good. And then that's not even discussing what we could do on offense.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be a good one. We will break this game down probably Friday before the game commences. Man, what a wild card weekend the NFL has given us. It has been a lot of ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster. Gonz, any final thoughts?
Let's go Ravens. Let's go take care of business. No more AFC North squads in the dance. So this is our chance to seize it. Let's go do it. I'm ready.
All right. We will be back for you guys to bring you that analysis heading into that game. Pretty sure injury reports and all that stuff will probably be out by Friday, so we'll definitely be able to break that down, peel this game back layer by layer. Did your team make it through NFL wildcard weekend? Were you part of the disappointments in the upsets? Let us know your thoughts.
Can the Ravens get it done?
Can the Ravens get it done? Can the Ravens knock out rookie CJ Stroud, rookie sensation CJ Stroud, who's been hot to end the season? Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Thank you guys for sticking with us throughout this NFL season. Hopefully there's more to come and more fun to be had as the playoffs continue. We'll be back to break down Ravens-Texans NFL divisional round. It's going to be a fun one. I'm Dom. That's Gonz. We'll be back to break that down. We're signing off.